Girls of Reddit, what makes a guy creepy? When they don't take no for an answer. When guys try to separate you from your friends, like you're in a group and a guy suddenly pushes his way in and blocks you off. No self-awareness or notion of personal boundaries, like when guys follow you around public places or follow you home intentionally and don't seem to understand what's really unsettling about that. I don't know if it's because I live in a big city, but this is surprisingly common. I had a friend do that to me. We'd hung out and were walking home, and when it came time for us to part ways, we said goodbye, but he continued to walk with me. He did this until we got to my apartment. We'd said goodbye to each other like 3 times. It would have been one thing if he'd offered to walk me home, then I'd understand it, but it was just freaking creepy. Telling me personal things about myself. I had a guy at my old job mention that I took a different route to work one morning. Then he said a mix of letters and numbers. When I asked what that meant, he said, "That's your license plate, right?" Another time he was standing behind me at the time clock and said my clock in code before I entered it. Also, he cornered me in a room and tried to kiss me. It was so awkward because his wife was my supervisor and I was his superior. I was a nurse and he was the CNA. On top of that, I was a new nurse and not at all comfortable in my role yet. I ended up telling my co-workers to keep us apart and make sure he didn't follow me into rooms after that last part. Very creepy. Yo, that sounds like a restraining order. When they consistently ask you out after about 3 times, it gets excessive and creepy. Plus, if they try to contact you through more than 2 platforms, then it's creepy as well. Guy here. I only ask girls out twice. The second time only happens when she don't have time the first time. After that, I am a ghost. Blocking exits. Please leave me a path to get away from you if I want to. This is a big one not a lot of guys seem to understand. If you're standing in front of my only way out, I'm gonna panic and I no longer give a crap if I'm into you. That ship sailed when you penned me into the bar. I also hate when you try to move past dudes and they move into your way to like stop you. I'm leaving for a reason. Repeatedly trying to pursue you after you've told them you're not interested. My friend in uni was harassed, stalked by a guy like that for months. Uni was taking too long, so we took matters into our own hands, collecting evidence of stalking etc, collaborating with the police etc. Eventually he violated the restraining order my friend got arrested, was in jail for 2 days. His parents bailed him out ASAP, went on trial and currently is on probation. Guy, go out with me. Nah, no thanks, I'm married. Guy, so, by far one of my least favorite interactions. Also staring, uninterrupted staring. It's worse if they don't even come talk to you. Makes me scared they're just going to follow me. Constant, uninterrupted staring, or when they get way too close to you when talking and kinda hover over top of you. Definitely, there's a guy at work that I catch staring at me at least once every day. It's creepy. I try not to be alone in the same room with him. I won't walk out to my car alone. When a guy won't give you your space even when you implicitly or explicitly make it clear that you want your space. Without giving too many details, when I was younger, this sweet guy became creepy to me because he wouldn't leave me alone even when I said I wanted time to myself. If they can't respect your boundaries, get out and fast. Had a guy much taller than me get really tower over me in a gas station, telling me I had a nice nose. Tried to back away but he couldn't, or wouldn't, take the hint, and had me backed up against a wall. He had me almost behind the counter before the employee and another customer got between us. Fellas, if a girl is trying to walk away from you, let her, and by all means don't corner her. When you can tell they don't look at you like a person but like a conquest. I have this guy at work who's a little weird, but every time he talks to me, it's like his preconceptions of who I am and what I think are all he sees. It's annoying. We must have the same co-worker. Haha, mine also adds an odd remarks like telling me that my husband, I'm not married, and when he makes these comments he is very clearly saying it with himself in mind. Will never allow me to do things during random conversations. Bundles of fun. Not giving up after you said no more than once. If he follows you everywhere and tries to sniff you or touch you. Someone I barely knew once came up behind me before some god-awful 8 AM calculus class and ran his fingers lovingly through my hair. When if you don't reply immediately he gets sad or needs something from your texts to make you feel bad. Speaking from personal experience. When much older men think that all the young women want to frick them. I've worked with a few men like this and it really creeps me out, especially when they look at a young woman and lick their lips. I see you online. Who are you talking to? This. I'm so glad many things have invisible options now. When they just stand like really close to me when I'm just trying to talk, or asking a lot of questions about my personal life when I hardly know them. Also watching me walk by then whispering to their buddies all around them. That really freaks me out. The whispering when I walk by is applicable to both men and women for me. When he doesn't have good boundaries or doesn't take no. The creepy lines. I will mention I rode horses and I've heard in response, I bet you rode those horses real good while licking their lips and winking. A mix of what they say and demeanor. EWW. Developing feelings too quickly. I understand what it's like to be a person who falls hard for people, but there's a line. Like when you're talking to someone on a dating website, you've only exchanged 3 messages and the guy says he loves you. That or guys who try to give you shoulder rubs. No random man. I don't want you to touch me. Dude, I made friends with a dude in my neighborhood when I first moved back to my city, and on hour 1 he was talking about me being his girlfriend and all that. Really awkward conversation when I told him I was not going to be his girlfriend. Saying random innuendos when I don't know you. Why do you think I want to hear that? If you don't know them. Staring at you for too long. Trying to hold your hand. Insisting on showing you something or taking you somewhere. Big red flag. Laying their hands on you, like, not accidentally, on your belly back close to private parts. Still flirting, or trying at least, after you've rejected and declined told them you have a boyfriend. Bonus point if they keep trying if you are a lesbian and just told them that you literally have a girlfriend. As a man, it seems like a lot if men don't believe that lesbians are lesbians. I've seen it, it's weird. Saying hey cutie, and then giving all sorts of insults from W to prude when I say I'm not interested, especially when they don't realize that I, a very white girl, am not fluent in Spanish, but I know enough to know when they are calling me a skinny W in Spanish. I live in southern Texas. Fellow Texas resident here, it's important to know the P words in Spanish. When a man starts checking you out while he's right next to his girlfriend or wife, this gets a creepy stamp of approval from me. I once had a guy hit on me with his daughter right next to him and he was married. Not respecting boundaries, not listening and not treating you like an equal human being are my top 3 red flags. Respecting boundaries means they don't invade your personal space. Common rules of society are followed and they don't keep pushing to touch, interact, initiate conversation or relationship. If you are hovering around me, trying to distance me from safety or my friends, keep staring at me, following me after I say no, etc. you are a creep to me. I sense danger and am uncomfortable with this. Stop touching me. No hugging. Get away. Listening is a crucial skill in general but tells me whether or not I want to be near you or if you respect me. Not listening or treating my opinions as valid means you are probably not someone who understands no and may try to manipulate or hurt me. I am not a piece of meat, a potential lay or someone's property. Respect me as your equal and human. The scariest creeps don't seem to see you as human. You are their object, something to chase. A fourth that isn't always the case is a lack of social awareness or being oblivious of social rules, as it can lead to uncomfortable misunderstandings or much worse when combined with the other 3. Not taking no for an answer. Not respecting boundaries. Treating humans as anything other than human. The goddess thing can be totally creepy. Putting their hand on your lower back or side as they move around you or to let you know they are there. I don't even care when a co-worker occasionally touches my butt or boob at work when it's clearly an accident because we all work in close proximity. Doing it on purpose, however, to only the young girls, instead of using your voice or a touch to the shoulder to alert of your presence is intrusive, unnecessary, and alarming. When a guy is pushy, flirting, whatever, but it bugs me when I'm having a good conversation and the guy suddenly is trying to meet up or is trying to get nudes, like frick off. Using any excuse to touch me, like sliding his hand across my lower back when walking past or trying to get by me. Staring of course, especially in the gym. Suddenly asking personal questions like, do you have a boyfriend, do you live alone, like dude I don't know you. Asking if you live alone is the creepiest one. Telling me his friend told him to buy a really nice gift for if I kissed him at the end of the date and no gift if I didn't kiss him after the date. This was a long time ago, and before he said that I thought we were hanging out as friends. Wasn't interested at all to begin with, but that just creeped me right out. Not respecting my boundaries. Trying to put their arms around me or touch me. Call me sweetie, baby, follow me when I'm clearly ignoring you. Most of the time, they are complete strangers at college or in the street, just everywhere. Please stop. Asking for nudes. Sending unsolicited nudes. Being called sweetie, sweetheart, honey etc by a man I don't know always creeps me out. Little lady pees me right the frick off. I'm tall, in my 30s, and can carry whatever it is very easily. Repeatedly calling us beautiful and comparing us to other women we know. Sure, it's cute if you're already in a relationship, but when you're not, it's actually really creepy, especially if it's multiple times in one day. Don't I get a hug? Any dude that tries to guilt me into touching him is creepy. Making inappropriate jokes when there was absolutely no need for it. Or even worse, trying to force every conversation into a conversation about something inappropriate. Once had a co-op student, I was a senior engineer, corner me in our tiny coffee room to tell me he didn't understand why I changed my hair. He liked it better blonde. I'm 5 feet 2 inches, it's 8 o'clock in the morning, and I'm cornered by a kid who has never spoken a word to me before but is 6 feet 2 inches easily, and I can't get around him. Also had another co-op student breath on the back of my neck while I was doing some material testing as a way of getting my attention. Or he said he would help me if I helped him. He was my coop student. He literally got paid to help me. This kid I finally threatened to report to his school and said I would trash his professionalism grade if he tried that crap again. It didn't help until I made it clear to all my coops that allowing him to act that way would affect their professionalism grades too. Then he behaved. Even though I was the senior person in both circumstances, their lack of respect for space and their clear flirting was so out of place. Given their size, it could be really intimidating. Especially since I often got in early or worked late, and that is when these kids would choose to be creepy. It's a multitude of aspects, and a lot of people have touched on some of the points. Another point is the nice guy expectations. There's a fine line between caring for your friends and, creepily, trying to take care of a girl. The difference is often in the intent. If you are nice to someone for any reason other than like common decency and basic care that you would give to any other person, it's creepy, awkward and heavy with ultimatum. I think that's called a covered contract. I did this for you, so you must do that for me, even though it's only assumed in one person's head that that is the agreement. When they say smile, dude, I'm not here to make you feel good about yourself. I don't even know you, and no one ever in the history of ever smiled when someone they don't know tells them to. I hate this so much. I decided to unplug my headphones one day while walking to the library and immediately regretted it after I started hearing that. Saying things like women like this and women don't like this as if we're a hive mind, and you happen to know women's experiences better than them. I automatically assume you will get angry at me and start yelling or creeping if I breathe wrong, and cause a ruckus in public if I tell you to leave me alone. Listen, I won't pretend to know the pros and cons of being a lad. If you don't pretend to know the pros and cons of being a lass, it's complex. It varies per person. And if you have trouble getting in with the entirety of a group of people of the same gender, it's totally on you. Flicking my tit and doing it in front of my husband did not end well. I can't go into a ton of detail because it became an hour and legal issue. Nightmare, but I'll give you an overview. My husband and I were at a going away party at a restaurant for a friend at work, and one of my other work friends was there. At the end of the night, when we walked by and say goodbye to him, he quite literally flicked my tit. I was in complete shock. I can only say that due to this guy's action and my husband's reaction, my husband is no longer allowed at my work. The guy went on unpaid leave for a couple weeks. Not long after that, he got a promotion, while I had been fighting for a year to get a small raise after doubling my workload. Remember, kiddos, life is definitely fair. When I show disinterest in the interaction and he continues to be pushy, for example, a guy can come up to me in public and tell me that he thinks I'm beautiful and it's not creepy, but if I then say thank you and put my earbuds in or go back to my phone and he keeps persisting, it quickly becomes creepy. I think that men really just need to listen to women's cues more. Her body language responses will tell you if she wants you to keep talking to her. I think these creeps already know you're not interested, they just keep pushing and pushing. No respect for boundaries. Not knowing your audience. Whether something is appropriate or not depends a lot on where you are and who you're with. Something that would be totally appropriate with your buddies can be inappropriate in a mixed social situation. For example, my brother-in-law shared a story about a woman who used her own vaginal yeast to brew beer. Would have been an interesting story for some friends at the bar. However, it was super freaking creepy at the annual family reunion. Not being able to tell what isn't appropriate is creepy. One night I was walking home at night in a shady part of our city and some drunk guy was walking behind me talking loudly and sometimes directly to me. I stopped to let him walk in front of me. He said you don't need to be scared. That just freaked me out more. He continued walking, but come on, as if telling some stranger not to be scared doesn't ring all the alarm bells. I like to go out running from time to time. In empty streets when it's getting late I can see women getting really scared and moving the heck out of the way when I am running past. I figured slowing down would be worse, so I just carry on. Not respecting personal space boundaries. I just posted an ad on Craigslist looking for a roommate. I'm more than happy to post some of the 89 replies I've received from men who think the for rent section of CL is a branch of seekingarrangement.com. It's been a wild 24 hours. Also I'm scared. Ladies, please find another way to find roommates. This has been a freaking trip. Co-worker, go out with me. Me, I'm only 16. Him, I'm only 26. Age is just a number and that wasn't a no. Our other co-worker, and jail is just a room. Sean, also don't lie, you're 37. Happened years ago, but I basically quit BC. He became a manager, even though every woman on the staff asked to never work with him. Lying about little things is very creepy. You told me your next class is in a different location so you can walk with me? Don't do that. Just say you want to walk with me. So is touching. Like don't just reach out and start playing with my hair if we're standing 3 feet apart and I'm asking you about our assignment. It's weird. Really weird. You have been visited by the romantic doggo. Comment love is magic so you never fall in the friend zone. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.